Hey, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Kat of StrayKatStyle. Welcome to episode number 9 of Conversations with StrayKatStyle. I will be having the lovely Traci of Repurpose Resale joining me very shortly. I'm really, really, really excited. Hey, she's here. Oh man, she's prompt. Yay, yay. Let me go ahead and invite you. Hold on, just excited. I'm going to do a pen and then I'm going to share, do all of that stuff. Um, Hi, hello, lovely lady. How are
I'm
you?
good. How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I am really, really excited we're doing this. My lighting's kind of weird, so I'm upstairs and it's a different time, so hopefully it doesn't look too crazy. But I love the jacket. Is that a jacket you have on?
Yeah,
Is that
it's a little jacket. Yep, with little
cute?
cuff, with little sleeve, little color for the interview.
I love it. Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So it looks like we have people popping on already. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Hillary. You guys, thanks for joining. Treasures by Twinka. How are you? How are you? Evolve Vintage. You guys, thank you so much for being here. If you want to go ahead and tag anyone that you think that would enjoy this conversation that I'm going to be having with Traci, please, please, please tag them. I'm going to pick her brain. I'm going to pick her brain, and I've learned lots of good stuff about her because I'm really excited. This is our opportunity to learn about other women that are kind of rocking the resale game and learning what kind of inspired them, their best business practices are, what their plans are for the future. This is all kind of a shout out to so everyone can like learn, and it's really wild because I've had people on here that I just knew people knew, and they're new to them. So I think that it's a really amazing thing to get together, have this conversation, and learn more about each other. And I went not today, girl. I followed your formula.
Oh,
I'm gonna keep following it, but we'll talk about that because I'm following because I'm like I tell people, girl, I'm the redheaded stepchild or whatnot. I don't know what's going on. I'm
you are
just
not alone. You are not alone. Trust you are not alone.
oh, I want to sing the song. I don't know if you've ever, but I love to sing. I love to sing, and so I break out into song all the time. Anybody that knows me knows that, so it's really funny. But anyway, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Give just a quick kind of like introduction, like what you would like them to know that we may not cover during the course of our conversation. We tend to like get we tend to find out a lot, but just so people that are you're new to them, so they can learn a little bit about you. And I'm pretty sure I spelled spelled it correctly in the title, but
Okay.
tell them a little, introduce yourself. Introduce yourself to them.
So, guys, I'm Traci of Repurpose Resale. I've been a reseller over 25 years, different avenues. I completely shop resale. I'm anti-mall. I mean, I even get my makeup online. So, but yeah, I do resale. I've done resale since, oh my goodness. When I got out, I went to A&T, State University, Aggie Pride.
Mm-hmm.
After I got out and moved home, I opened my own consignment store here in Charlotte. So I had the store for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I found out about eBay. And it was like the aha moment for me, like, wait, what? I can sell online, not have any interaction, ship my items. And so after I kept my store open like 7 years, and I did well in the store, but I
Mm-hmm.
was young. I was still partying, doing my thing. And I started selling from home online through eBay. And I did that, still doing it today. Still doing it today. So when eBay first came out, I jumped on that train. I have done antique shows. I do deal in clothing mostly, but I do antiques, collectibles as well, jewelry, not, as well too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I found out about the live selling on Instagram a couple years ago. I was
Okay,
super
okay. Hold on. Back up. Okay, because I know I don't want to get too ahead because we're gonna cover that. We're gonna cover that because I want them, I want to get, it's kind of a build up. We do a
Yeah.
little build up here. So what we do is we will, because you know, a lot of times, because you're anti-mall, but so let's go back to find out how you came to embrace not doing the whole corporate kind of like, I'm going to go to the mall and like, you know, people that hang out at the mall and all that. So I want to know a little bit of your history. Like, I want to know, like, because there's some people, because I have an experience in high school that introduced me
Okay.
to buying secondhand. So let's back up and let's talk about that first, because it seems like there's probably something really interesting, little nugget in there, is how you came to, like, some people it's their grandmother, it's their aunt. So how did you start to do that? So let's talk about that first.
Okay. I can tell you the exact moment. So my mother, she was a great mall shopper, great retail shopper.
Mm-hmm.
So she was a mall shopper. We would go to the mall on Saturdays, but she was a good bargain shopper, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my dad, one day, he took me to the flea market.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked the flea market, and I just thought it was the most amazing thing ever. Like, ever.
I love flea markets. Oh my God. I love flea
Yeah,
markets.
I've been 10, 11. And then
Aww.
I was just, you know, my mom we would still go shop, but I love that. I love that side of it, the resale side, just all the different things, all the beautiful things, because it was like, you know, the malls can be very cookie cutter and they're very straight by the book, right? This was
Mm-hmm.
not, this was something from everybody. Everybody has different tastes, different genres of items. And so I was drawn to the flea market, and that pretty much, that started it for me. Yep.
So, did your dad, was that something that he like did regularly? Like he had like a history of going to it, or was it something that he was like, okay, let's do this as a family and just like kind of hang
Yeah, let's just go hang
out?
market. It wasn't far from our home,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe 5. And we went, and he may have been going before and I didn't know it, but on this
Wow.
particular day, and we just continued to go. And that was something that we continued to do together, just me and my dad. My
Mm-hmm.
mom, not so much, wasn't her cup of tea, but
Mm-hmm.
my dad, yeah.
Oh, and does he know that? Does he know that he lit that spark? Like, did he recognize that he lit that spark?
Yes, yes, I think so. I think he knew that, you know, with, you know, what I'm doing in resale now, what I did, he's passed on. But what, you know, just my record and things that I've done,
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah.
Oh, so did that become kind of a regular thing that you did together? Like, did you like regularly? Were you like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah?
And then later on in life, it was going to yard sales.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my dad may have been like 80 when he passed,
Mm-hmm.
but and we would go to yard sales. So it was still kind of our thing in present day. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
oh, that's awesome. Because from my family's always like, oh, that's so Kathy, because they call me Kathy instead of Catherine or Kat. And so, then by the time they catch up with me, I would be on to something else. So it was never like we never had those moments where we're kind of cohesive, where we're like all of us embracing it.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely like more fast fashion kind of people. It's because we're different. We're that you talk about the whole nature nurture thing and how everybody's just kind of has their own being that they come into, even though we have the same root system. So I think that's amazing that's something that you have with your dad. Okay, so because I know you're always talking about you have this is you work away from doing all of this. So, but okay, so you discovered all of these things, and so was it pretty natural for you? Were you like, because some people, they sell the stuff that they have at home, and then they grow and they're like, okay, they figure it kind of out, and then they start like buying stuff to do it. So was it a natural thing for you? Did you like do things that owned yourself? Or were you just like, oh, this is going to be kind of cool. I'm just going to try and see like a little extra money, or So when you're first starting out.
Yeah, when I had my store, that's when I actually started kind of, well, no. I'll take that back. The hustle, I call it. So when I was in college, I would come home and clean out my mother's closet. And whatever she didn't want, I would take it to my favorite consignment shop in Greensboro, North Carolina. And that was my hustle. That's how I made my extra money, right? So I would consign her stuff. She would just give it to me. I would consign it. And then that just sparked more, still in the realm of resale. So I kind of learned the game of the flip early on, right? So that was before I even graduated college. That's what I was doing.
So you really been doing you've been hustling. You've been hustling for a while. So you're kind of like do this. So when all of these different platforms come into being, you're like, oh, okay, let me try this. Let me dabble in that. Okay, so you said you still do eBay. I know you're on Whatnot. I kind of know a little bit of your story about Instagram. So then let's talk about your journey and like how you arrived to where you are right now. I watched your talk. I watched that, and so I know a bit about it, but other people won't know about it. So then let's talk about that. So you did you had your consignment store. So that's in itself, thinking about, the age what age were you when you started your consignment store?
It was in 1997. So I had the store from 97 to about 04.
So then, because there's plenty of people that are, and I know that the it's different now. It's changed how, being some of the things that we don't often take advantage of, like a women of color doing a small business. There are certain incentives that grants and things like that are open to people. And I definitely I'm going to touch on that on like down the road, because I think that that's something I don't even utilize it properly. And so back then, be like, I want to open a consignment store.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? She is. I'm learning. I'm like, man, no wonder she's almost like, holy moly. So how did that you're like, okay, I'm gonna do that?
Well, I told my parents, and they worked their ass off pretty much, and they were retirees, and they were like, okay, they knew my love for it, right? But we found a place. After we found a place, it was no contractors involved. We did everything. My brother, he's an artist. He lived in New York for years, so he did my signage outside. He showed me how to do murals and stuff on the wall inside.
Wow.
People that we knew that had the fly stuff, like, look, this is what I'm doing. I need to stock, things of that nature. And so we gathered the stuff together, and it was me and my mom. She worked there with me, and I was able to hire one part-time young lady to come in on Saturday. Yep. And then I went to the flea market, back to the flea market, and there were a couple dealers that I would buy from. They knew exactly what I liked, and I go to them and buy stuff and bring it back to the store to sell it. Yep. So
wow. Okay. Because I've worked at a couple of different companies that are pretty big in the buy, sell, and trade market, and they had their new merch that they did, and they had when people come, that they would go to shows and all that, and they would buy that, but then they have their things that people come in and they pay them for. So did you find that it was people pretty open to doing that? I know it's these, they've been around like soundtrack. They've changed like the kind of like, I wouldn't say not the visual, but the whole standard and the way that the business practices for doing buy, sell, and trade. Like people have changed it. They change their percentages. They do all of that. And so it sounds like your family was a really, really big support system, and they like enabled you to be able to do that. So I think that that's like, that's an example of how a family can be really cohesive and kind of like, I think that that's tremendous. I think that that's an amazing thing, and not a lot of people have that. So I think that's one of the wonderful things about Instagram and like being able to have these talks and things, because if you don't have the family and all these other things to kind of help you do your building blocks, you've got people like you that are talk about these things. You can do this. If I'm doing it, you can do it, but you like follow the formula. If you're not doing this,
Yep.
you can't just show up and just expect to sell everything. You got to do these other things to be successful. So I think that that's a tremendous thing that your family was doing that. So, okay, so then let's talk about the next step, because I heard you mention, heard you mention about you're doing the consignment, you're eBay. eBay comes along, and there's a lot of people that are seriously, they are around since eBay started, and they're like, it's a big time business. There's a gentleman that Josh will know the name of him. He does hundreds of listings a day, and he like millions of dollars his store makes on eBay. And so that's a possibility for people to do that. I think that the market's a little bit different. People expect to be able to do that right away, but now it's kind of like change, so you got to kind of move with the changes of it. So you were doing your consignment store, and you said, hey, I could do this and not interact. So how was that transition? How was that transition from doing that? Did you like market to the people that were like kind of coming in and being business, or how did you slide into doing the eBay thing? Because it was a new thing, it wasn't like what it is today.
Yeah, it was totally new. Honestly, I was burnt out from the store, being in my house, waiting on people to come through the door to make a sale, right? Some and then you have to split that. Back then, the percentages were 50-50. Totally changed now. And back then, there were nothing in North Carolina as buy-sell trades. It was all consignment.
So
no.
you were you really the OG? Were you really the OG? Were you really the OG?
No buy-sell trades. None.
Wow.
Yeah. No. I didn't find out about buy trades until I went to like California. My other brother, at that time, he lived in California, and that's kind of how learned about buy-sell trades. But no, it was straight consignment shops, right? Straight consignment shops. No, none of that.
So you probably heard of like Crossroads and Buffalo. Those are the companies. I worked for Crossroads for years and years, and then I worked for Buffalo before I was recruited by another company. But so yeah, that was my first introduction to that, and it's really wild, because it's like that's a prime example of and I don't know if you know the history of those two companies, but they're two brothers that own the two companies. And one started before the other, and then the other one's like, okay, yes, they're brothers. It's a long story. But yeah. So it's like, you want to work for them? What? It's like, yeah. So it's really interesting. Yeah, it's two brothers, Crossroads and Buffalo's. But it's it really, like, this whole that's become such a beast of this enables people to be able to do things that they never dreamed of, by being able to, they really have a work ethic and they really get consistent and all that, they can do. And when you say hustle, I get that. And so the fact that people were able to do this and be able to earn online, that must have been like, was it scary though? Was it scary? Were you like, I kind of have my store, but I'm kind of burnt out, but I can actually do this where I don't have to interact with people, and I could just do great service, great quality products, and it's such a new thing, so you're like a bigger fish, right? So, but was it like
I had a safety net. So at that time, I was still living with my parents, so that was the safety net, right? But it was the worldwide exposure for me. That was the deciding factor. Back then, I could go to the thrift store and buy a pair of just busted Ferragamo shoes and top dollar for them, and they all would go to South Korea. So I was shipping stuff to South Korea, and when I saw people buying my stuff from California, New York, and I'm like, wait, what? But back then you had to take a picture, download the picture to the computer, and so it was a smooth transition, but what became hard for me is basically setting boundaries, and what I mean by that is when you work for yourself and you work from home, it's easy to go out. So now I have to find the stuff, right? If I'm on eBay, I have to find the stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
the fun part is to go and shop
Mm-hmm.
all day. And then
Mm-hmm.
home, you don't feel like listing. You know, you kind of be in a mindset, you know,
You're like,
you
I'm
got
gonna keep this. I'm like, I'm gonna keep this. I like this. I'm gonna keep
to
it.
do and follow through. So I find a balance, you know, where I could still do that and shop and list
Mm-hmm.
and be at home. So you have to you have to have some kind of structure
Yeah.
to it. If not, shopping all the time and have a
Yeah.
whole bunch of stuff and
Well,
not moving.
I'm quite honestly, I'm overwhelmed. I'm trying to scale down my schedule of lives on a
You
lot,
got a lot.
9, 10 hours a day. And people are just like, why do you do it so much? And it's like, I have a daughter in college. I have a son that is going to a music academy. He needs a $9,000 base. I need this, we're our cost of living is crazy right now. And then we're getting ready to have 2 kids in college. So it's like, that's why I'm hustling, because this is my job. This is what I do. I love doing it, but I find that I am, like, right now trying to change my schedule. It's a little daunting, because I'm like, you have to step back to move forward. So you're going to earn less to earn more, because once you get it figured out, then you're going to be able to fly. You're going to be able to really do, when you really, really figure it out, then you're going to be able to see. And that's why I really wanted to listen to what you have to say. I really listened to what Angel of Pinkstone Minerals has to say about marketing. And I lean into, if people in our community are willing to help us, because I will help wherever I can. And if other people are willing to help you, you lean into that. You don't
Yeah.
say, oh man, they're doing that. And the jealousy thing, it's like, dude, unless of course there's people that, like, and I did a post that, that are, they're keeping it real is really cruel. And so it's like, you need to, like, I don't want to be that. I want to be light. I want to do that. And so it's like, I want to be able to give it in a small thing. You afraid to go live with me. I'm at, and the thing about it is, my people will buy from you. They won't buy from me. And I'm just like, I'm selling too. And,
Right.
because it's a community that we're like, oh, this person's a new buyer. I want to really help them to, so they'll be up. And I've gone to people's lives where they have one person, I stay in there for an hour. I buy a few things from them. I share, I do that. Other people come in, they start buying from them. And they're like, I was about to give up, Kat. I was about to give up. Doing this is too much. And it helped. And so those are small things that we do as a community. So, like, how your parents were like that, like, I'm a mother bear, like, I will mother you. So I'm like, I want to do that for everybody. And so I think it's like, this whole thing is just such a nugget that women of color and women have just, like, been able to just, like, grab onto, be creative, do all of these things together. And I think that it's just such an amazing thing. So, like, I'm so stoked. I'm hearing about your journey, and, like, we're only, like, halfway through it. And I'm just, like, tripping out. I'm just like, oh my God. And so I'm a goober. Okay. So don't, I'm dialing it down a little bit. So it's just like, okay, so let's, because I'm asking questions. I usually send questions and answers till the end, but sometimes people, like, it ends up being where, they may leave or anything. I want to make sure that their questions, because we do have a few that are here. So I'm just going to ask, have you answer, like, one or two of it. Okay, so the first one, this is Room by Wrap. She's saying, if you had to describe your brand in 3 words, what would they be?
Quality,
Mm-hmm.
eclectic. What would the third word be? Quality, eclectic,
Well,
and
because I really think you're inclusive myself. I think that you're inclusive.
you there.
And with your style, your sizing, you're like, because I've seen your, like, I've seen your, like, your lives, I pop in, I'm just like, dang. And then I popped in the one where, where the rest there. I'm like, what? What's going on? It was awesome. And it's like, and it felt like very inclusive. So that's what I would say, like, from just what I've kind of glommed onto. So, There's that. Okay, so let's do one more question, then we're going to continue on your journey. Okay, the vintage babe underscore B is asking, can she talk about more about whatnot? Okay, we're going to talk about whatnot. That's going to be part of her journey that we're discussing. So we definitely will do that. So stick around, don't go anywhere, so that you'll have your question answered. We're going to skip to Treasures by Tweet Co. Please don't give up. We need you. I'd love to share some ways with you so you can scale your business. If you're talking to me, girl, hello, like yesterday. And then it says, oh, so this is for me. Are the brothers related to the owners of Closed Mentor and Plato's Closet? No, they are not. They are not. And they're probably like, I don't want to get slapped with anything, but I could share that with you. My best friend is a pretty big wig. She's a big wig with the company, with one of them. And she couldn't be interviewed by me because she's worried about she couldn't. So did you know you're amazing? Do you live sell on eBay?
No, haven't even looked into it. That would just be adding just more to the plate. No, not right now. I've had people, a lot of my reseller sisters, like, oh, come to Posh. I've done silent shows on Poshmark, but hadn't taken a step to do a live on Posh.
Yeah, Poshmark, it's definitely a different animal. And when I first was I was just doing jewelry because, I had my surgery and I had cast on and I'm going to see the doctor tomorrow, brace and all that stuff. I'm afraid because it's been bothering me. So I'm just like, oh my God, don't tell me I have to have surgery. I hope so. I don't hope not. But so I started doing jewelry, and that's what I was doing on Poshmark, and it went really, really well. But there's a formula there too. And I haven't cracked the code on that. So, I've scaled it down. I'm doing more Instagram, but I'm bringing whatnot back in and then doing Poshmark, and then I don't do eBay lives. I'm thinking about Facebook. I don't know. I'm just trying to find my footing, to see where I want to scale up. But okay, so then you did eBay. Okay, so you're eBay. So it sounds like you were you were on it early. So then you're on eBay. Did you find your comfort zone, and then the next platform came along, or were you actively looking to kind of expand, and you're like, oh, then you came along your next venture? How did that transition onto the next platform?
The next platform would have been Poshmark,
Mm-hmm.
and that was maybe 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. But in the interim, I got an offer to open up a nonprofit resale shop here in Charlotte. I was contacted to basically bring this lady's vision to life, and I opened up a nonprofit resale shop, not my own, but that's what I did. So I needed some kind of supplemental pay, right? Income. So I'm like, okay, well, I can do this. I love to do this. So why not get paid for it? So I still did. And then I worked that job for like two years. And me and my boss kind of got into it. And I'm like, okay, I cannot do this. The micromanaging, it was just too much. So I left the job, and I was still at home. And so I was still doing, online eBaying. And it was 2 years. I lost my mother, my father 6 months after that, and then my child's father. So I think it was God put me back with my parents, not knowing that I was going to lose my parents within 6 months of each other. Right? I think all that happened at my job, because I go hard. Whatever I do, I'm going to go hard, right? And I never forget it. We went to the beach, and I told my father, and I told her what, she was doing. And he was like, okay, quit. And so I did. I put in my resignation. And so I was back home, still home, but just doing the eBay thing. But I think it was all set up for me to be there with my parents for whatever they needed in the last couple years, right? And I left, They said, if you ever want your job back, come back. And so we'll talk about that. But that's what I was doing in the interim. So I did work that for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm holding back tears, girl. My condolences. I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
But he put me there.
Mm-hmm.
That
So you have
happened.
quality, the time with your parents to like really, really like nurture your relationship even more.
For them to get on my nerves, for them to send me to 1,000 times, right?
Yeah.
For me to do all the things that, and I have 2 older brothers, but for me to do all the things that they needed.
Mm-hmm.
So put me there. He set me there with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think when it happened, I was okay. Because I honored my mother and my father to the
Mm-hmm.
very, right?
Oh.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. Okay. So, so then what are you, because you say, you talk about so did you go back to, so you were back. So
I
that's
went
your
back.
other job when you talk about your full time. I may pick your brain about that because Josh and I would like to, we want to open a nonprofit. We're going to meet with the SBA, but, we want to do that. That's been something that's been in our hearts to do, like for the last like year and a half, because, the percentage of children of color that are involved in like jazz, you would not believe, like most of the people that are at jazz majors don't look like my son, you know? So it's like, it's really, we want to like enable, like if a child's needing instruments and things like that, we want to be able to do that because music like changed my life and it's such a gift. It is such a gift to be involved in it. So that's where we want our money to go. And
Right.
so we've been spending at nonprofits and all of that, but we're like, what can we do that's more? So we would love to do that. So we're going to do SBA, and I'm really, really curious about that because that's to start that's a pretty big deal. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hold off on asking the outside questions for just a couple more minutes. But okay, so then you did Poshmark. You're doing Poshmark. We started ours when COVID hit because I have an autoimmune things, and I was teaching music classes with children. Had a movement music class, so I'm a musician, and so I could not do that because I would get sick. I would go and visit them and do my classes, and I'd be sick for 2 weeks because I compromised. So it's like because they're like, Miss Cat, dog pile. I'm just like, and what I'm going to do? Get back up. Don't stick your arm through my earring because my earring hoop is big. This could be a bracelet. They're just like, that's how, the kids were. And so that's when we started Poshmark. And so that was a really, really good thing for us. And we did eBay and all that stuff. So, okay. So you did Poshmark and then you funneled up because you're on Whatnot now. So was Whatnot your next thing after Poshmark? Was there something? I'm trying to remember. Was there something in between Whatnot and Poshmark?
It was Instagram. It was IG
Oh,
Live.
yeah, Instagram Lives. Okay, yeah, you were doing Instagram Lives because you left. Yes. Okay. You're doing Poshmark, and you're on Instagram, right? You were on Instagram already, right? And so I know that you were saying that you were watching people doing the lives. And so what made you start to like, okay, that's my next thing. I'm moving on. I'm going to do that too. I'm going to do that too.
I just stumbled across it because first of all, I was a Facebooker. I was not a big Instagram person.
Mm-hmm.
One of my besties, she was like, girl, you got to get an Instagram account. And I was like, I don't need no Instagram account. I wasn't a big social media person and all of that. So she did the account for me, right?
Oh.
And then I'm just there and I don't know if I put in my interests or thrifting or what. And I ran across Amber. What is Amber? Y'all know Amber. She's
quality thrift. Top quality. Is it top quality? That.
Dog. Anyway, Amber was doing a live, I think, with Aisha. But anyway, she was doing
I'm trying to think of the other Ambers.
Amber, white, long hair. You know her. Shopping habit. Thank you, Rock.
Shopping habit. Oh yeah. Okay.
So I'm like, I'm looking and I'm like, wait a minute, what? This is going on? They doing it like this over here? And I was like, okay. So I called my friend. I'm like, girl, go to Instagram. Please look at this, okay? And she was like, oh my God. So like instantly I was turned on. Like instantly. But I didn't really have followers and all that stuff. So I just started watching people and just, I wasn't on content then or anything. But I was planning on having my first sale on Instagram. And I think I did Instagram maybe 6 months, maybe. I might have done Instagram and I enjoyed it. The money was great. It was fun. Yeah. And then here comes whatnot. Here comes whatnot. And I signed up and I'll tell you how I found out because I would do part-time work for a liquidation company, a clothing liquidation company, and I would travel. One of the young ladies there had just signed up and she was telling me about it and she watched it all weekend. She was like, oh my God. She was just like stuck to her phone the entire weekend. And so I was like, okay, when I get back home, I'm going to sign up. And I signed up and yeah, it was like a chop, and I felt bad, like reseller to reseller to my reseller sisters. Like I felt really bad when I moved over, but it was a business decision for me, right? It was just a business decision because mostly a lot of the things that I sell was not, I wouldn't say it wouldn't fit in on Instagram from stuff that I was seeing. Because what I was watching was consistent vintage and colors and all that stuff, which I had some. But I didn't have it like I wanted to have it, right? So, but I had more of the Nordstrom and that type of stuff. So I'm like, okay, we're going to try it. And I tried it. I liked it. It was a lot of technical things that won me over from the jump. I didn't have to. Y'all know the drill. I didn't have to go.
The shipping, all of that.
Well, just going in the ledger. I call it a ledger, where I felt like I was in 1970. You're handwriting everything. The prices, it's all handwritten. Y'all know the drill. And you got cash apps to handles and who pay you enough shipping and all that. And what was important for me, sorry, I'm getting a little hoarse. It's not a selling platform per se. What I mean when I say that, it's no seller protection, no buyer protection. We're going on the word of the lady across the screen, a lady or gentleman across the screen. And we all know things happen. So I've seen lives where people are just in an uproar, oh, I got this and it's messed up. Well, and then the seller doesn't make good on it. So you're stuck. But on these platforms, whether it be Poshmark, eBay, or whatnot, those things are covered. Got you, tweet. Those things are covered. And that's important to me. That was important to me. And I just thought for the merchandise that I had at the moment, whatnot was the best fit for me. So that's why I moved over.
Well, it's wild because, and I think that's the quandary I find myself in, because my Poshmark stuff, my Poshmark items, there's some things that translate to Instagram, but most of my Poshmark things, they're like bread and butter. Ralph Lauren, all of these labels that I think that would do better on whatnot, and I just need to, I'm scared. For me, I'm scared because, I've gotten to a certain point with my lives on Instagram and I'm like, oh, if that just goes away and I go just full board on whatnot, I'm afraid because I haven't had too much success, and it might be because I'm trying to use the same formula that I use on Instagram, and it's not the same beast. And so you gotta change like your mentality. And the fact that they now allow you to do listings is a great thing. I think that that's a great thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Lily Pulitzer. I have tons of Lily Pulitzer. I have like, there's just so many, like very, very expensive to like just the bread and butter labels. We got 4,000 items, and so it's like I have a lot of stuff. So it's like, and this is stuff like some people, they do palettes and things like that. I'm a person, just when you're talking about the whole shopping thing, I'm the person that I like to touch every single item.
Right.
As I'm deciding what I want to bring in. So like when I tell that people, when I'm like, okay, my giveaway is my jewelry, I don't go and buy stuff specific for giveaways. I give you something that I'm like, I'm going to sell this for 18 or whatever. That's going to be my giveaway. And it's going to be a vintage piece of jewelry. It's going to be something that fits you. And so it's not going to be like a run of the mill, like across the board thing. It's going to be, I'm going to pick out something that, okay, this is what you bought today. You won the buyer giveaway. This is what I'm going to give you. It coordinates with this. That's what I'm going to do in the moment, so they can say, I don't wear that kind of stuff, so they could adjust it. So it's like, it's a different, on whatnot, like when I was doing it today, and this probably should be another conversation, because it's like, there's so much to talk about in trying to fine tune the whole, how whatnot works. And you guys, I think that, can't lose it. It's experience. Yeah, it's experience still. I'm like, my husband's like talking about, because I don't talk about the finances. I don't talk about the finances. It's like, I'm the go-getter. I'm like, what do I need to do? And I just go do it. Okay, I need to do this. I'm going to go do it. And then he can worry about that stuff.
Right.
But when he starts talking to me about that stuff, I'm like, oh,
Right.
I wear my stresses physically, like it manifests. So it's like kind of hard. It's kind of hard. And like everybody has their vices and their strengths and their minuses and things that they have to work out. And so it's just, what I'm really excited is I feel like you're kind of a chameleon. Like you kind of like, okay, I'm going to, not chameleon where you like a chameleon in the way that you can change your business practice and model to fit the different platform.
I can't
Success on it. And so that's what I think that's something that people teach those classes, that might be something you need to roll into. You're like,
the girls there, and I've talked to them about it. I call them buckets, right? So it's on a particular day. If I go thrifting, I'm looking for everything, right? I'm looking for vintage. I'm looking for whatnot. I'm looking for a Poshmark. If it goes on Poshmark, it's going to go on eBay, right? But I know I have different merchandise that goes in different buckets. Like, you can go to my Poshmark closet right now. You will most oftentimes will not ever see that merchandise on my rack. Now, if it's been on Poshmark for 6 to 8 months, I don't have a lot of money in it. Okay, I'll run a premium rack on whatnot, right? But if the garment is going to give me more money listing it online, that's where it's going. I got 1, 2, probably 8 rolling racks of clothes in here right now. Most of it, I go on a live sale. All this stuff is to go online. It's not like making money in your sleep. Nothing live selling. But, whatnot that's a good supplemental income for me. But I grind on those platforms, You mentioned palettes. Palettes are good. And I'm saying people that are considering selling on whatnot. Don't get discouraged when you see young ladies selling palettes. First of all, they have paid a boatload of money.
We've looked into it. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Second of all, most of them, and you can't worry about what the other person's doing, but I like to watch people just to learn. If you take the palette away, they're lost. Like, I'm pretty sure you, me, and a lot of the sisters and ladies and gentlemen on here, we found the pavement. We go in the streets to find and hand select these items, right? Because it can get very discouraging to watch somebody, pulling out a palette and they got all this Nordstrom stuff and all this designer stuff and they're making all this money, but they paid a boatload of money for it. But it's nothing like having the art and the eye to go and feel fabrics and know fabrics and choose the right things.
Yep.
You gotta know if you're gonna do this and succeed. You might not be into selling designer, but you gotta know. You gotta have some kind of basis. You gotta look up items. I see it all. You gotta research and things of that nature. But I'm saying all that to say, no pallets here. You know, I'm out there. I even buy from, you know, sellers on Instagram. I buy from sellers on whatnot. You know, some of my sourcing. But no, not a pallet girl, but you mentioned that, so I just wanted to hit on that for a second.
Well, you know, because we've thought about it. We thought about it, and Josh is he's a big researcher, and he, you know, the key with pallets is finding someone that's reputable.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right? So, because not every supplier is that, and so there's that, and then once people get connections, like it's really wild because certain places will like dry up and they won't have, like, people have already bought the ones that are the money makers, and so the ones that are left, you know, they may not be like what you're looking for, or they're quite like they're a hodgepodge of things that may not work for you. So it's really, I definitely would research that for sure. For sure. And I think that you're preaching that, because when working buy, sell, and trade, I literally had to know if something was a good quality within the first like 5 seconds. I had to know. I had to know. I had to be current, you know, with a couple of years of what's popular, you know, and you know, I would work one where it's like celebrities will come in. They're like, Cat, where's Cat? So they could get more money for their item. And it's like, you know, I had to know like what it could sell for and all of that stuff. And it's like, being able to do that, you know, I used to like train people on like figuring out vintage jewelry and designer bags and designer pieces. So I get that. And it's like touching it, like, you know, I'll know. And I know that you're the same way, because I could just tell that you're the same way, where you're just like, you get it, and you're like, you won't even know the label, but you know, I'm going to get this home and I know this is going to be, I got a scarf that I'm like, I know this is going to be pricey. $150 I sold the thing for. It's crazy.
This is all I've ever done. So like, I know it's, you know, it's just second nature to me. This is all I've ever done.
Yep.
So like, I'm in a store, I don't have to like look at every label. I can breeze my hand across the clothes and I can feel it. I can look at the tip and I it up and I know this is something. Sometimes it might be a good quality, the resale might not be that well, and I may leave it behind. Sometimes, you know, I'm like, okay, this is good, you know. Yeah, all these factors go into play. Yeah.
It's that. I think that that's very interesting. That's something that, and you know, I'm sure there's probably videos online where they're like, oh, how to get the best palette and all that stuff. But it's not you got to be prepared. If you're spending that amount of money, you got to have confidence in what you're getting. And I like to be able to, like, you know, I know, see her in action. I know, I see her, she's like rubbing. I do this, and then my hand will stop, and I'll be like, okay, what's this? Like, I go fast, like I might not even look at it. I go and I touch it, and I'm like, I know that's silk. You know, I know that that's a really nice knit, you know, things like that. I don't do that, but I do that. Yeah. But I love to do that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
As she flutters.
So face to face with every label to see, which, you know, makes it easier that, you know, when I'm going, because I can go pretty fast.
Yeah.
I mean, even thrifter to thrifter, like, I can go in a thrift store, I can walk pretty much, I can stand there 5 minutes and I can feel that it's nothing there. Yeah. I can feel like dead. It's been torn through. Like, what I do, you know, that's what I love to do.
But there's also days when you're like, you go, and in the first like 10 minutes, like not even 10 minutes, you find something, you're like, okay, and then a little bit down, there's something, you're like, somebody don't donated somebody's this,
So,
and you're like, I'm going to find the rest of what they did. That happened, and you just like, you go and you know what the kind of, like the sizing is perfect, and you're just like, you go and you're like, somebody do that.
That's when the thrift gods are with you. So when you go in there and your first 5 minutes and you find 4 or 5 pieces, that's the day when you got to go through every piece in that store to get the entire haul. Somebody don't.
Text Josh. It's going to be a minute. It's going to be a minute.
If they are rolling racks out, you are one way to the racks to see, because you want the entire haul. That happened to me. But it was men's clothing at a Goodwill, and whoever he was a dresser. Okay, at streetwear, he had just casual, beautiful casual shirts, beautiful denim. You know,
and you know it's his because of the sizing, right? You know it's his because it's like consistent sizing.
And then I even went as far as to go in the women's section because he was a smaller man. So some of the items they had put in the women's section, not knowing that it was men's. So, it was a good day.
Happy dance.
So good.
Happy dance.
I might have found 2 the next day, but that was it. But I got the entire haul that day.
Oh,
I never forget it.
That's what happened with the vintage. I was like, I see that orange. I see that green. I see that red polka dot. I see that stripe. They're all the same size. Oh, I'm going through. And it's bright vintage, and they're all the same size. So it's like, you know, you pay attention to that stuff. You guys, that's definitely like you don't, that is not a automatic thing for people to be able to do, you know, and it's not an automatic thing. And it's like you grow when you learn. So you just gotta be open. Let's see another question that, I know, girl, it's like, oh my God. How do you maintain such great inventory? And, oh, I love you. Kara Love says that. How do you keep such great inventory? We kind of touched on that, right? We touched on that.
It's not, I mean, it's not easy. You know, I got a lot of inventory, a lot. I'm constantly buying here and there. Some days I come home with 2 items. Some days I come home with 15. You just know. I think Dress Apart is on here. So there,
we have so many similarities. Like,
so there was
so many similarities. You ever in Vegas, girl? We're gonna go around. I'm like, anybody in Vegas? Come on, let's go. Because there's so many like places that I tell you, you're gonna be like, you really want to go in there? And I'm going to be like, yeah, we're going to go in here. And you're going to be like, oh, that's why we in here. That's why we in here. So it's like, it's, you know, so then let's take another question. She wants to know, Vintage Babe, can you talk about the August IG challenge? Okay. So let's talk about, before we do that, let's talk about, so you're Whatnot. You're rocking it on Whatnot. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I gotta watch more of her lives. And then I'm like, when you're like talking about things, I'm really listening, because I know I'm not a person that's like stuck in my head in the mud. Like, I want to grow and I want to be better. And so I'm like, if someone has the tools, I'm gonna like watch and try and learn from them. And so so you're doing the Whatnot. You're doing yes. Oh my gosh, are you in Vegas too? Southern Belle? Are you in Vegas? Oh, okay.
That's my best.
Okay. I'm like, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. So we're actually want to set up a boutique in our house for people to come and do a boutique experience in our, because
nice.
I got people, because people now are like, now they get it. I show them my inventory. They're like, Kat, you got this? I said, okay, hold on a minute. All right, let me see the pictures because I'll have it. And so, you know, I love that part of doing this. I love it, making people happy, having it come together. Okay, so you're doing Whatnot. You're, because I know that let's talk about, because you were featured. You were featured in a collection with, you were picked to do something with the other sellers. I'm going to let you talk about that and how that came to be. Like, explain that to everyone.
Well, about 2 weeks ago, I was having a bad day. Just had to say that. And God is awesome. I have to say that too. I was on the way to get some lunch, and my phone beeped, and I looked, and it was an email from Whatnot. And they invited me to be a part of the fall preview.
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally Whatnot would send out an email, maybe monthly, to all the sellers saying, hey, we're doing a boho edit. Would you like to participate? If so, load 25 items in your store. We'll take a look at it and, you know, pretty much we'll let you know if you're on the lineup.
Uh-huh.
But this was different. So I've done that. I've done a Whatnot sponsored show, which is great exposure, but this was
So
different.
let's talk about that first then. Let's talk about that first, because that happened first. Because that was something that happened like, what, 2 months ago? Something like that?
I did a sponsored show, maybe 6-7 months ago.
Oh man, time's going by fast. Because I remember that. I remember that.
I did. It might have been the boho edit. I think it was the boho edit, but yeah, that was months ago. So
And it was great exposure, you said. It was great exposure.
Because it's a train show, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a strong person at the beginning, strong in the middle, strong at the end, right? Mm-hmm. And then in this train, they may have had probably 15 sellers. So they started that morning to mm-hmm. that night. So, mm-hmm. This right here, what I'm doing now, that's different. The email that I received, she stated, this is Megan over, she's over the clothing part. And she emailed me and was like, hey, pretty much we see what you've been doing. We appreciate all the hard work you have put in on the app. We would like to feature you on our fall edit. And I was like, okay. But then it gets better. Then she goes on to say that we will give you money to source with. And then it gets better. Then she says, we're going to give you an additional $200 for the giveaway. The giveaway can be more than $200, but we want you to spend at least $200 on your giveaway that you're going to give away to one lucky person in your show. And I lost it.
Wowzers. Oh my God.
Because God knows that I'm passionate about this. Anybody that I've reached out to and I say, call me, I mean it. Mm-hmm. I'm passionate about it. For one time, I'm like super happy. Like it is my happy place, right? Mm-hmm. And so it gets better. So the next, what I did, I emailed her back and I was like, I want to share the news on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, if I talk about the fall edit. And she was like, sure, go ahead.
Baby.
And then she said, but before you do that, I just want to let you know that we see the hard work you're putting in on the app and on IG. So they're watching, right?
That you promote Whatnot on IG.
Because if you notice, after every show, if I sell out, I'm doing a reel about it. If I'm having a show, I do a reel about it. I use their logo. I tag them in everything that I do pertaining to Whatnot. Mm-hmm. And they share my stories. Like my story, you know, they pick up my stories all the time to their followers, right? So all that happened. So then
that's a smart thing. That's a smart thing. Mm-hmm. You hear what she's doing, you guys. You hear what she's doing. She's like, if you're doing a Whatnot, because I'm going to start doing stuff like that. You guys hear what she's saying. Like, we can't let this thing, that this is learning. This is like a match class. So you need to like think about these things. If you're doing Whatnot, if you're trying to bring it up and like, I need help on that platform. So please, please, please do some of the stuff she's saying. If you want to be able, if you're like nervous about doing it and you're like, maybe that's the start of you becoming good on that platform to utilize those things. Do you know what I'm saying? So
even if you're
I think that's a really smart thing.
This kind of goes, even if you're nervous about it, this kind of goes with somewhat the IG, because people have hit like, oh, well, what am I going to do for the challenge? And I said, you're overthinking it. If you feel terrible that you've got to pack 30 boxes, take a selfie. This is how I feel. I don't want to pack these boxes. That's content. Mm-hmm. You know, all this, mm-hmm. But everything that I do pertaining to Whatnot, I tag Whatnot, and I tagged What Not Wardrobe. And What Not Wardrobe are the ones that contacted me and said, hey, we want you. And I lost it. And I really lost it when I looked at the lineup. So a week later, she sent the lineup. The lineup is only 6 people.
Nicole, right? Nicole's one of them. Mm-hmm. Is Nicole one of them?
And I know, I'm glad they put her in the middle, because y'all know, if you participated in a train show or ever seen a train show, one person can just tear up the whole train. Nicole State is very strong. She's very grounded. She has a huge following. She's an influencer. So they put her in the middle because she's an influencer. They put her in the middle to keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
Okay. 6 people. I'm the only Black girl. And they put me last as the headliner. And I was like, this is insane. Like, girl, it's better. She emailed me yesterday and says, oh my gosh, we just love what you're putting out. Can you send us a video of your work area, a picture of yourself in your work area, write a paragraph, a small paragraph.
They're going to feature you. They're going to feature you,
aren't they? They're going to feature me as a seller on their website. Yesterday. Yeah.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Yeah, girl, she's somebody.
Yeah.
She is somebody, girl. Oh, what? Girl, that's so amazing. I'm so happy for you. I'm acting like I feel like it happened to me.
To all of y'all, it's attainable. It can be done. That's the thing. It's all attainable. Like, I didn't know a year. I've been on here a little over a year. I had no idea all this was going to take place. All of this is going to take place. And I swear, for the first 6 months, I felt terrible that I had jumped on a whole nother selling platform, because I started on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So it would be like, oh, Traci, you got to come on over. You got to come on over and do da-da-da-da-da-da. And I just finally had to tell her, babe, it was nothing about Instagram. It was a business decision for me. And this has been good for me. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is where, and my people, pretty much my loyal customers, they all followed me over. Mm-hmm. I didn't just say, hey, I'm not here no more. I gradually told them. And that's important for you, yourself, anybody that's selling on Instagram now that may want to transition over. Don't just jump and think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm too scared. I'm too scared to do that. So I'm slowly doing it. And I'm telling people, I'm like, this is what I'm thinking. And they're like, don't go. But I'm like, but I need to there's so many lives on the Instagram. And it's like, it feels like, and I know that people talk about it. It feels like it's I don't know why it feels like a smaller pond. And it's like, and people can buy where they want to buy. And so, sometimes I feel like, okay, if I'm on with somebody else, people are not going to come to mine. And that's okay. But it's like, it's a bigger market, Whatnot's a bigger,
it is.
So it's like, that's part of the reasons, but I'm not going to go over there. I'm just because I can't afford to just do that, but I'm going to do it gradually. So it's going to hurt a little bit and I'm going to work my way up.
Here's the thing with the IG sellers, right? Especially if you're running consistent shows and you have a following and the people just love your stuff. You don't just say, okay, I'm out. You talk about it. When you had that live sale, when you had that jewelry sale tonight, okay, y'all, it's something on my mind. I do want to try something new. And I'm asking all of y'all for my support. Y'all been riding with me the whole time. But I'm unfamiliar territory. But I need your support. I need you to come out, show up for me, right? That's your. So when you do a show, You tell all your customers on Instagram that you're doing a show over on Whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to let you fall. That's your pillow. That's
Mm-hmm.
your safe. So you invite all your people to that show. You just don't jump over there and think
Mm-hmm.
people, you kind of have to pull them and let them know that this is something that you're trying to do, but can you please walk with me through this process?
Mm-hmm.
It happened the other week. I'm happy. I've been helping her for 2 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she contacted me and she said, I want to do it, but I want to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. She said, how much you charge? I said, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but I tell you this, don't waste my time. And I didn't mean
Mm-hmm.
no harm, no foul.
Mm-hmm.
Come to me when you're ready. If you're not ready, or if it's something that you just want to play around with, just go over there and play around, right? But she did it the right way. She took her time. I didn't ask her what she was selling, but when she got a rack together, she called me. We did a private show. I told
Yep. Yep.
I told
Mm-hmm. I
her
watched
how
that.
to, you know, and she did it. She had 38 items on her rack, her first show, and she sold 35 of the 38. But her cushion was her Instagram following that she had
Mm-hmm.
built. So you just don't leave those people behind. And then the shoppers on Instagram, they need to know about it. This is
Mm-hmm.
hassle-free shopping.
Mm-hmm.
This is totally hassle-free shopping. So if you have a following on Instagram and people that constantly shop with you, there's no
Mm-hmm.
why you can't do it, right? But just slow walk it, because when she did her show, our goal was for her to just get through the show. If she made money, that was the cherry on the top, right? We just both said, well, we just want to get through. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to learn all the little bells and whistles, how to run stuff, how to run a smooth show. But if you don't make any money, that's fine. So she didn't have any expectations. But she did. She did. And then prior to the show, I had a show, right? I do a Sunday show every
Mm-hmm.
Sunday. So
Mm-hmm.
I did like 4 giveaways. So every giveaway, I said, okay, Shop Happy, we're going to come over to you during my giveaway. So we would split screen. And I was like, okay, guys, let's check in with Shop Happy and see how she's doing. So I'm baiting my crowd to stick around for her. Then after I
Mm-hmm.
was over, all my people that was in my show went to her show. Plus she had her cushion, her
Mm-hmm.
safety of
Yeah.
her Instagram,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
she killed it. And she
Yeah.
killed it.
Oh, that's amazing. Because I
Yeah.
remember that, and then I remember she did her post, and I think that's so amazing. Because there's a lot of people that they do not, they may be bashful or they may not realize.
This might be so rude, but I need to take like a 2-minute bathroom break.
Oh, sure, sure, yeah, go for it.
Y'all just talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Sorry. I'll be
So you
right
got
back.
to like prepare your questions if you have any questions. If you have any for me, you can ask me questions. I don't really talk about myself. Well, I do. What am I saying? I talk about myself all the time during these. But if there's anything that you ever wanted to ask me that I may be able to like kind of expand on or kind of talk to you about, did you want to know about me? Please do. Hey, Felicia, how are you? By the way, I'm wearing a two-piece from, I know, I'm wearing a two-piece from Final Call. I'll show it to you. I don't know if y'all saw it. I didn't take a picture. This is it. It's a two-piece. Look how cute this is. Two-piece, Final Call. It's awesome. Fits me like a glove. I absolutely love it. Talk about killing it, man. I was like, what? What? It's so cute. It's cute, huh? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I put it on. I was like, ooh, baby. Ooh, baby, baby. Baby, baby. So don't leave. Don't leave. She's coming right back. She's coming right back. And, yeah, these are available. I rock these and then Pinkstone Minerals. Okay, so you guys, I really, really appreciate you guys, first of all, coming and staying so long. I love to see a consistent double-digit number during this question and answer, because this is really, you know, when, I know, isn't it cute? I love it. I could have wore it for my animal show with her tomorrow, but once I tried it on, I was like, I'm not taking it off. I'm like, I am not taking this thing off. No way, no how, no way, no how. So, okay, so I've come back to wearing my little flowers. But, okay, so guys, I really, really appreciate you guys. I appreciate the follows that I'm getting during this. And this, the reason why, the conversation with StrayKatStyle, the reason why I started it is because I was seeing Black content creators and resellers really killing it. But I wasn't seeing it as like a mainstream thing, right? I wasn't seeing it as a mainstream thing where it was constantly being talked about, the fact that women that of all these different shades of brown, like, you know, just all these different colors, whether or not they're Hispanic, they're Asian, they're like African American, Black, whatever you want to say, whether they're like their English is, you know, their English, they're learning English. They're still killing it doing this resale game. So I'm like, you know what? We need to like start talking about this and what these people like have to offer and learn more about them. Because when I first was starting conversations with StrayKatStyle, and this is just a little bit of a history of how this started, and then we'll get back to the interview with Traci. What happened is that I was doing on Spotify, I was doing a history of fashion. And so I was doing different decades, and I was talking about, like, you know, 40s, 50s, you know, and learning more about fashion. And that's still on Spotify, Conversation with StrayKatStyle on Spotify. And so I was talking about different decades and how they like to relate to what we're wearing right now, the things that were really popular, the people that were rocking that fashion at the time, and different things that were happening around us in society. And so that was kind of what I was doing decades. And I was like, okay, well, I want to, like, there's people that I wanted to do this on a platform like a podcast thing, but it just wasn't happening organically. So I'm like, you know what? I'm already on Instagram. I might as well do it. So I'm like, I'm just going to start reaching out to people and like just see how this goes, and then send it over to YouTube. And I tell you, the people that I have, they're available, girl. They're available. They're so cute. They got little hands and hands. I usually wear stuff on sale. Everything's for sale, but not today, just the earrings. But so I was like, I want people to be able to see these women doing this, because then they really see, you know, just as like they say, the first female senator. She's the first one going to be, like, Traci's going to be the headliner. You know, the things like that, you know, where it's just like, the things that are possible that you can be done, and just meeting these people and seeing what they're doing, what their influences, all the struggles, the heartaches, the accomplishments that they've had that are possible. Like, you're able to overcome these things, and you're able to, if you want to, this is a possibility. So I'm like, that's why I started Conversation with StrayKatStyle, because I was like, I want people to be able to see this. They'd be able to see these beautiful faces that have a common thread but look very different and have different business things, and whether or not I'm going to be interviewing people that do hair stuff, you know, hair products, all these different things that they're rocking it, doing these things. And so it's just a possibility. It's a possibility of being able to do it. Okay, so now, you know, we were like, I'm just like blown away about the whole whatnot thing. I'm just like so blown away. But I want to talk about, because let's talk about, because, you know, you talked about your father. We're going to back up a little bit, but you talked about your father and doing the like the flea market, doing that with him. And so, but is there someone that, because I've seen you rocking different styles, you know, and I saw, like, I thought it was brilliant, you doing the whatnot shows outside, like all of these things. Like, I've been paying attention to you for a while, and I'm just like so in awe. And so you just got a shout out. Yes, Final Call. I showed my outfit, girl. That's from you. I love it, girl. I wasn't going to wear it today. I was going to wear it tomorrow. But then once I tried it on, I was like, I guess I'm going to have to pick out another outfit for tomorrow, because I'm not taking this off, because I love it. So I love it, girl. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But I love it. And she does a Let's Sparkle marathon. So that's another thing. But so you were talking about your dad. So is there someone, because when I was talking about how it's doing at Spotify and talking about like different celebrities, or, you know, it could be someone in your community. Was there someone that, in regard to fashion, that you kind of looked and you're like, you know what, I love their whole like vibe, what they represent, like stylistically? You know, is someone that you really like adored as far as fashion?
My mother.
Your mama.
My mother. She
So she's a fashionista before like they even thought about fashionista.
my aunt, she was all that in a bag of chips too. And my aunt, actually, she had a boutique in Greensboro, and she was very well traveled.
Mm-hmm.
She played piano she started playing piano for churches like when she was 12 years old, and she would travel the world, play the
Wow.
piano, and she would shop. And I remember I was a young girl. We used to go to the merchandise mart or something in Atlanta and get jewelry. I was a little, wasn't even, I may have been 6 or 7, but I remember it. So it was embedded early on. But my mother was a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She taught at Johnson C. Smith University for years. And then when I came in 73, she moved to public school. But back
Mm-hmm.
then, you guys probably know that back then, if you were a teacher, you dressed your ass off.
Oh my
Because now
gosh.
they
Seriously. Oh.
pay to the teachers because we need you. But
Mm-hmm.
like a thing, like when Carol Little, my mother had every single, and I watched these resellers sell this Carol Little. My mother had, they would come it was like 3 ladies at her school, and Pat Collins was another one. She was like the assistant principal. But they would, when Carol Little would come out, they would go to see who could get it first, and they had all the Carol Little could have 6 pieces to one outfit, right? And the platinum and all that. So I learned early on. And they dressed back then. They took pride in what they wore, you know. So I got it honest. And we used to shop a lot, but she was a good bargain shopper. You know, when we go to the store, if we're at the mall or whatever, and back then you had good stores. You had low-owned boutiques, and not a department store, but it might be a step down from a department store that would just have exquisite stuff. But we would go to the sale rack first, you know, and that's what if I go to any store, I'm going, where's the sale rack? That's first. But that's where.
Because different people look for different things. That's the thing. Like, cause sometimes I found some stuff that's like, oh my God, where it's like, it's reduced and it's like a fire vintage piece that just like, I'm just like, how is this still here? How is this still here? And I'm just like flipping out, doing my happy dance. Like I'm trying to refrain. I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And, you know, because different people, you know, they don't that's not what they're looking for, you know? And it's like, and I definitely feel like this whole thing is not a like scarcity mentality thing. I think, especially in Vegas, you come here, they're like all over the place. There's like so many places to grab great things. And so it's like, it is, y'all talking about Carol Little, I tell you, her pieces, the combination of like true patchwork things, ethnic pieces, the vibrancy of the colors that were put in that line. So like there's so many people that cannot compare to her. Like Carol Little and Diane Van Furstenberg, those are 2 designers that like for women that I think were like Carol Little, like I'm not gonna say leisure because there's so many like dressy things that are in there, but Diane Van Furstenberg is like very for a woman's figure, whether or not you're busty or not. You know, it fits like a woman's figure and makes her look like the wrap dresses and everything. It's just like those labels are just like on par. So I'm just like, I'm tripping because I'm like, I want to see pictures. I see pictures of my uncles. And I'm like, he is working on the car. He got his hat tilted to the side, suspenders. He's got him rolled up, got his little like thing hanging out the back of his pocket. He got on his dress shoes, and he's working. Because that's the way people used to do that. But you think about back, there's some times they had to like make their stuff because they couldn't shop at places. There's like designated things, and then certain things wouldn't be coming to where they were. So they had to make their stuff. So it's just such a rich history of like, so it's like I'm always interested to see who people are influenced by. And so now I'm like, seriously, I'm like, pictures. Okay, so let me see about if anyone has any questions. Girl, I usually
What?
I usually am on here for like an hour. I'm just like, I want to keep going. So because you talked about what not more, and so I just want to there's definitely, because one thing I definitely want to hit on, and I want you to like as succinct as possible, because sometimes it's like it can be overwhelming. But like if you had to tell people 3 best business practices that will kind of like, if it's possible, that will kind of like be able to ride along the different platforms, like whether or not you're not comfortable doing live sales and you're just doing listings, or you're doing the live sales, or people that do they're trying to like do personal shopping or anything like that. That you can think of where it's like across the board, like three best business practices, and it could be anything, like as well, like inventory maintenance. It could be like because you talked about price of goods, anything like that, that you can and a lot of times it's like what's available to you, that's what you have to. If it's not available to you, you can't do this.
In reference to any, as far as just reselling, period, it's good if you could keep your cost of goods as low as possible. Cost of goods is very important, especially selling on whatnot. I can hit on that later, but cost of goods is one. Right now, I do pay up for things, but if I pay up, that means I'm gonna make a whole lot of money. And when I say pay, like $100 is paying up. A lot of cases, $50 is paying up. But if I see, I'm gonna make $250. Period. I'm not saying to make $100, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the other one? I just had it. Research. I see it all the time. You gotta look up your stuff, guys.
So give us an example, because you mentioned that before. Like, give us an example of something you see where you're like, that person, they might have needed to research that, or where it just made you.
Some people just do it because that's what they do. They don't care. But then some people, if you're trying to make like money, like really bang it out, like sometimes you got to put stuff in the right bucket. You can, I've bought stuff off like Instagram sales for $10, right? And they're just trying to get rid of it. But they don't know. They're like, oh, it's just a cute dress. And then I scoop it for 10 and I sell it for 125. What would you rather have, the 10, or put a little time invested in it and sell it for the 125?
So I get it now. You're talking about, when you're talking about that, you're talking about making sure that if it's like, put it online to sell it like on Poshmark or whatever, because it has a bigger value, and not just trying to sell it, turn it over quickly, actually like curate it for a second and like have it where it needs to go, because it better service it, $10, that's not gonna make a dent right then. But if you sell it in a month or two for that higher amount, just waiting a little bit longer and doing that's better.
I was at Goodwill. This was a couple months ago, and I saw this cute little bohemian looking blouse, and I'm like, this is something. The label looks super weird, and it was $4.99, so I picked it up. Didn't look it up, but I was like, this will be cute to go on my show. It's what they like, so I got in the car and looked it up. It was called Alex, Alix of Bohemia, right? Never heard of it. And once I saw what it was selling for, I just had a blouse. I didn't have the dresses and all that stuff. And I finally, it's just been sitting over here in my little death pile. I finally got to it. Put it on Mark one morning last week, and I put $129 on it. I put it on eBay too, and within 30 minutes I got full ask, and I paid $4.99. but I could have easily put it on my rack and not have known and just sold it to whomever.
Yeah, that's it. I've had that happen a fair amount of
That's why I
times.
say, do
Like it trips me out because I'm just like, because it, I'm just like, because there's like I'm pretty sure I bought it for $2. It's a place I used to go to. I don't go anymore. And it was $2. And I'm like, this really feels nice. I didn't even see that it was made in Ireland, but I was like, this scarf is really nice. I took it home. I looked it up and I'm like, I can't find anything by this designer that looks like this, but everything else is a couple $100. That thing is 175. And it was like, and it sold within like a week. It sold within a week. And like that girl was so happy. She sent me a picture and it was like, because they sold for like $400, you know, that's how the original resale. So it's like, there's definitely like, if somebody wants to, like, 'cause of course somebody might want to just like, all they want to do is they want to turn it up. They want to do a lot of items for a lower amount. Like that's what their business model is. Get it for cheap, sell a bunch of items for a low amount, and then you know, because it's so many items, then they make a lot. And then, but if you like want to make it into like I say work smarter, not harder, and that's what I'm trying to do, then you do these kind of things that you're talking about. And you like, you take that 10 minutes, 15 minutes looking it up because you're like, and you learn about those labels. And I think it helps. And people say that I talk, you know, they're like, girl, you talked me into it. I'll know information about the item and I'm just like, but trust me, this is and I tell them information and I kind of know what I'm talking about. I'm like, and I'm just like, you trust me? And I'm like, you're going to get it home. And it's with fit, with style, with price, whatever. And there'll be, I don't know how many times people say, Kat, I tried it on. You're right. You know, and that's what I love about this business. So do you have like, do you have a relationship where the people that because you said you have your Instagram people that came over. So do you have your tribe on Whatnot? Because I think you do. You have your tribe on Whatnot that kind of like.
I got a lot of people that rock with me. I have a lot of great customers, great new customers that miss a show. But you know, it wasn't easy. You know what I'm saying? But I believe in quality first. The thing, like people that know me, like it's just certain things I'm not gonna sell. No shade to the other reseller. Standards are high, right? So I'm not gonna buy too much fast fashion because the ethical thing, it goes deep. Like the landfills are filled, right? Because so clothes being knocked off and produced and produced and produced. They're already cheap when on the website. They're cheaper at the Goodwill. How much money you think you're gonna make on it? That's so if I'm gonna invest my time, whether it be $3 or $10, it's gotta be worth my time. Gotta be worth my time. But I have standards for quality. No, everything doesn't have to be designer or brand name. But if it's good quality, I'm gonna bring quality. And I think that's one of the reasons I have succeeded and gone as far as I can. You know, I have. Anybody comes to my show, they know it's gonna be great quality.
Yeah.
Like
Johnny was, or you know, whatever. So because I'm sorry, I think I might have interrupted you because I was asking you the 3 best business practices and you had mentioned knowing the right bucket, you know, where to put it, like knowing that.
quality.
But did you say your other quality is another one? Okay. So then what other business practice would, because I know sometimes it's as easy as like setting, like having a set schedule, you know, a set schedule to do things, you know, then you have more.
I'm not good with that. I'm a procrastinator. I'm not good. I've tried different ways since I sell all over the place, plus hold a job. I've tried different ways on stuff. So maybe on Monday, I try to take all my pictures for my list. I do have a virtual assistant that will do my listings for me. Very inexpensive. So I do my pictures. I drop my pictures into Vendu, and she takes it from there. I'll go
Mhm.
back. She'll send me a text. Hey, all your listings are
Mhm.
in, and
Mhm.
I'll look over them.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll do pricing,
Mhm.
and I hit the button and launch them. You know,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's dollars for no $88 for 100 listings. You can't beat it. So that's
Yeah.
a great help for me personally. I don't have time to enter in. I mean, I still list myself too, but I do use, that is a service that I use. I just started that. I haven't even had that a year, but it's a great help
Mhm.
trying to get the volume that I have. But the other one is just, research. I'm just a stickler about research. There are some things, far as like with the whatnot,
Mhm.
that, I think it's the foundation if you want to make a go at it. And you saw the video.
Yeah.
Me, Kiera, Ketsia, Candlelight
That's
Vision,
it.
we
Yeah.
came up with the seed, get a whatnot chat. But these are things that if you want to make an honest go at it, will help.
Mhm.
Like I said, low cost of goods. So when I first started, I pretty much liquidated a lot of my Poshmark stuff that wasn't moving. I ran sales on it on Poshmark, all of that. That's how I started getting my racks together. And so that helped a lot. Curating. Curating will help you tremendously. I didn't do this at first. Curating is just not putting stuff on a rack and say, hey, this is the rack for my sale. It has to have
Mhm.
a meaning. It has to have, what is the mission? When you see the
So
rack,
do you
what,
theme
what
it? Do you theme it? Do you season? Do you do season? Do you theme? Do you because for some people, because you have such an extensive background, so there may be people that want to do it that's just not a second nature for them. So is it where you think?
and
Mhm.
I think it will just, because when you have a rack of just randoms, it will help if you say, it doesn't even have to be, I mean, things that I've done boho, I've done vacation vibes, I've done Operation Bon Voyage, where you're going on vacation, anything that you need for vacation. These are some I've done it all white. So if it's just pulling out colors, like Shop Happy did pre-Monday Blues, right? She did
Mhm.
that on Sunday. Everything on the rack was blue. That's
Mhm.
easy. Go to your rack, you know, put similar pieces together. That will help you curate a rack. Things will help you, like, so now even if I get athletic wear, I
Mhm.
just hold side. So I'll do athletic and outdoor kind of stuff together, because that's kind of like the same kind of person. They
So
have a lot
that's
of.
good. That's a good like bucket thing. So if you're like trying to think of, okay, what do I want to do for the month? And you kind of like, if you're collecting or getting anything, going out and grabbing pieces, you're putting it with the relevant pieces. So then when it comes time to do that show, you have all of the relevant pieces together, and it probably will save you time when you're like doing pictures and all of that, because it's like you have everything together. You have everything together. And I think that, and I'm just finally, because we have, like I said, I'm overwhelmed, but I'm finally trying to do stuff like that, and like
Mhm.
have my daughter help me. So if it's like, certain styles or whatever, having them together, and I think it's going to help me tremendously. It's going to help me tremendously. So I think with her saying that, I think you guys should really, really think about that, because just doing just 25 and under. All right, sometimes that works, but I think that it will, if you're having all plus size, then people know when they come, you're going to have plus size things for them. If you're
Right.
like, certain things, if they like all printed stuff, or if they all linen stuff, or, all of that, like doing that kind of thing, will know that there's a market for that, where they're going to go and they're like, ooh, she's doing all linen.
It just
I
helps.
love linen. I love silk or whatever.
It just helps. I didn't do that at first. I was just selling summer stuff or whatever, because we were in the summer season. And then as I went on, that it became a slump, because as I was selling, I was moving a lot of inventory. lots. So I'm running on average between 40 and 60 per show pieces. So that's a lot of inventory. And then at that time, early on, I was running at least two shows a week. That's a lot. I'm a one-woman show. I don't have assistants. I do the packing, all of that. So, but as it became too much, so I'm like, okay, I need to just kind of maybe, I'm running out of stuff. I need to rethink this and what is going to be good for me. So I started a Sunday show. If I have shows that it's got decent stuff on it and I'm not really over the moon about it, it's going to be $1 show. And I'm going to start everything at $1 because I want it out. I tell you what I did one time. And this is, if you sell on Whatnot, sometimes you got to read your room, right? So I was doing a show. It was like a $5 show, maybe a $5 start show. I went like the first 10, no bites. And I'm like, okay, they are not feeling this $5 start. So I'm like, okay. So I turned around and I said, okay, $3 starts on everything. Soon as I started $3 starts, they started bidding on every.
And you got more. And you got more than your $5, right?
The $5 start. So I'm not saying start everything low because your price is your price, and be confident with your price, right? But you have to read the room. You kind of gotta be in tune with the people that are in your room. If it's crickets or not, it's not nothing going on, you might have to switch it up. But command your space when you're on there. Sometimes you kind of get in and, well, what y'all want to see? That works sometimes. Like if you're doing a jewelry show and it's all sitting there for them to see, but most oftentimes they're waiting on you to show them what you got, right? And that works sometimes. But
But I know you're talking about when you're more established, you might be able to do that. Or do you think even now, if you say, what do you guys want to see? They still want you to show
across the board. These are things that you need to just do. But I tell you what, the basis of that site is community driven. If you just on to do a show and that's all you want to do is come and do your show and hop off, you're not going to get the followers you need to succeed. People know you, right? You have to be an active part of the community. That doesn't mean going to everybody's shows. But if you want to type in vintage jewelry, if that's your thing, start hopping in these shows. Start speaking to people. Hey, what's up? They're going to say, oh, hey, repurpose. They call me repurpose a sale because they can't.
They call me stray. I'm not a stray, gosh darn it.
It's okay. But
Uh-oh, your sound went out.
A lady was on and she's down in New Orleans, didn't know her from Adam. You could tell she was new and she had like free people stuff and she was an older lady and her whole rack collapsed and she didn't know what to do. And I sat in that show with her and I was like, keep on showing. I just kept on encouraging her. Keep on showing, keep on showing. You got this. I bought some stuff from her. I was like, it's totally okay. I was just trying to smooth it over for her. And I stayed with her the whole time. Now, like, we have a friendship. She came to my anniversary show. And she's like one of my best customers now. But she didn't forget that I sat with her.
Yeah.
I could have just clicked off. Oh, her rack fell. I'm out. But the community aspect. So many of my IG brothers and sisters that could literally kill the game over there. Literally. But you have to take the necessary steps. And I'm very adamant about helping people, teaching people. I call myself a whatnot warrior, but because I'm gonna just be frank. We're not there. We are, but we're not.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the that we should be. You see,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
need
Mm-hmm.
to go on the 26th, but it should be pick another me or pick somebody else that looks like me too. Thank you. You see?
Yeah.
I mean, it can be done. Just don't get discouraged, but you gotta slow walk it. If you get over there and jump and think, oh, I'm about to have a show, and you haven't scheduled a show, how people don't know?
Yeah.
Go ahead and schedule your shows, and I'll tell you why. You might not even know what your show is about. A lot of times, I have a show scheduled right now that's a mystery show, but it's scheduled. But I have no clue what I'm gonna sell,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. But I
Mm-hmm.
get bookmarks on my show, and the more people that hit it up in the corner and bookmark my show,
Mm-hmm.
there's a thing called an algorithm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the algorithm is real. So if people are bookmarking your show, they're gonna put you up on the carousel. You're gonna move your way up. But those are the things, like community is key over there. If you just want to jump in and just do your show and be out, that's what you're gonna get. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the large sellers, I got 4,000 some followers. I've sold almost 4,000 pieces on there since I've started. So that's like in a year. But it's sellers way, with more followers and all that stuff. And I don't need like 1,000 people in my room. I just need the right people in my room.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I find even on Instagram. It doesn't need to be because, my numbers will be lower, but the people that are there are buying. So that's the key, so it's like, that does make a difference. So, okay, because somebody asked a question. I want to let me go back up here. They were asking, why would you do with free clothing from an estate sale? She's probably asking, what would you do with free clothing from an estate sale? I'm not sure. I think that you would probably decide from an estate sale what you can turn over. You know, some of it may not be like if you only do closing. Who asked the
So you
question?
said
It's
free clothing from an estate
she said,
sale? That was the question?
why would you do with free clothing from estate sale? But there might be stuff that's like prairie or whatever that it's just not her jam. So I think it's like figuring out what you would want to be able to turn over, or what you feel comfortable about
Well,
with.
like a lot of times at estate sales, I went to a great estate sale back in the summer, and a lot of stuff
Mhm.
was and things of that nature. But like now, I have contemporary. I pretty much have it pegged. I know what to do. I know what to sell.
Mhm.
But I still have knowledge of vintage.
Mhm.
So I will be crossing over categories. That's another thing. I cross over categories. A lot of people don't know I sell jewelry. I got tons of jewelry here. But I've done jewelry shows on Whatnot. I've done antique and collectible shows on Whatnot. But a new thing I'm going to jump into is the vintage category and start selling vintage clothing as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, yeah. And if you get stuff, like when you get it, you still got to put it in the buckets first. You can't
Mhm.
put it, whether it's
Mhm.
on Instagram or IG, same premise. You're selling on two different platforms, but you got to ask yourself, do you want to maximize, or you just want to use, and then you've spent your time. First of all, you spent your time driving out, walking around in the hot to
Mhm.
go get stuff. You know, you got to bring it back. A lot of people don't incorporate their time. What's your wage for going out and it's fun
Mhm.
to shop, but you could be doing something
Yeah.
else. So whether you are on Instagram or Whatnot, you still need to know and have knowledge about what you're selling. And
Mhm.
everything does not belong on a rack on a live sale, period. Unless that's what you choose to do. But
Yeah.
for me, I'm just speaking for me.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I'll be scared to run some things. I just don't have the balls like that. But like the sale that's coming up, straight fire.
Yeah.
Like I'm bringing it,
Oh,
you know.
oh boy.
They,
Ooh, baby.
you know, like,
So, you guys, if you're not following Traci already, make sure you're following her. Make sure you're following. Do the drop down arrow so that you're following her. And make sure that if you're on Whatnot, you're following her on Whatnot. You're bookmarking her shows. I got some lined up on Whatnot. Follow me on Whatnot. Bookmark some shows. I've got 3 coming up.
let us know on Instagram. Let the population of people know that you're going live. You know, don't just do it the day before. If you know you're having a sale next Monday, you need to be promoting that now.
Well, that's part of my business model that I'm shifting is I'm doing things further out because I'm a in the moment person, and it's very hard for me to adjust that because I'm like, I don't know
get it.
what I want to do. Like I'll be like alive, I don't know what I want to do, but I know that it's a disservice to me right now. So I'm trying to change that and make it like, okay, because I've got my things planned for next week, my story drops, all that stuff. You know, I've got those planned and I've got the things themed. But yeah, I agree with that. And I think that will be better. And hopefully I'll get it more fine tuned where I like do pictures and all of that stuff in a timely manner ahead and get things in my store. And one thing that I didn't do that you recommended doing was having the buy it now. I totally because I was so running, like things were like happening so I was too crazy. But I still haven't finished invoicing. But you had mentioned the buy it now. So hey, Gisette, how are you, my love? You had mentioned that, and so I didn't do that. So there's certain things that like even doing Instagram for over a year now. It's been over a year now. I really don't like. I still am like learning all of this stuff, and it's like it's kind of fluid and it kind of changes, and what you need to do kind of like changes, but you need to be consistent with certain things. And so, you know, I think that what you mentioned about making sure that you let people know and that your tribe and all of that, I need to do more of that. I need to do more of that. And I totally agree. Does anyone else have any more questions for Traci? This has been so amazing that it just like, I can't believe the time that it's just flown by, which is wild. I'm just like, I went to go look for a question on here versus my phone because I'm like, I missed it because it's easier to see versus like doing that because I didn't want to close out. And so I'm just like, what time is it? Because it like went by like that. Seriously, it's like so awesome. Does anyone have any questions for Traci? I love it that we've had a good amount of people in here the whole time. I think that people have like learned good things, and I think that they've, you know, they're probably like just as much in awe as I was before this, and I'm even more. And you know, it's just like you just have to say it because I think that you know, there ain't nothing to it but to do it, you know. And it's like, and then being able to show that it can be done, you know, inspires people to do. You know, there's you know, not being afraid to like tackle these things. I'm looking, guys, to see if we have any questions. Does anyone have any questions for Traci? Any questions for myself? Next week, I'm interviewing Darla of D Stiletto Fashion. The following week, I'm doing Laura of Valley of the Mod. And then I'm doing the second week of September, I'm doing the New York Wifey. Why am I blanking her full name? She's Wifey, New York Wifey. She has, you'll know her from a pillbox hat that she wears, super stylish. She said yesterday in an interview, right fast, she said it immediately. I'm just like, my mind's blown, man, because she's so stylish. I'm just so excited. Yay, thank you. Now, you guys, one thing that I should mention is that I transfer these over to YouTube. So please follow me on YouTube. Follow my channel, the Conversations with StrayKatStyle. Please subscribe. Please subscribe there because I want to adjust what my content's going to be, and it's not always going to be just what the interviews are here on Instagram. So, you know, please follow me there. Now, what do you want to, is there anything that you want to, I want to always give you the opportunity, because you mentioned the challenge. Is there anything else that you want to like share that you think that everyone should know about?
Yeah, so someone made mention of the IG August challenge. I'll just hit on that right quick. Myself, if you follow me, I try to do content every day. I think it has helped my business tremendously. And I do reels, I just do whatever, and it's been all self-taught. But I have some very dear friends of mine, Dress Apart. They're sellers on Whatnot. They're out in Denver, Colorado. Never met them, but I can truly say that we're friends. They're my absolutely favorite show to watch on Whatnot, and I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see what they sell, and I'm like, guys, I want to know more. I want to know more. And I was like, okay, let's come up with a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, maybe post three things a week or whatever. And she was like, no, we can do like the whole week. And I'm like, oh, okay. So myself and Dress Apart, that's how it all started. It was just between us, just to kind of promote our businesses and really to for them to promote their business, because I think
Mm-hmm.
they're amazing, and I'm a fan, and I just want to see
Mm-hmm.
more. And so I did a reel, and I was like, hey, me and Dress Apart are doing the IG August challenge. Who's in? All you got to do is just, you can post a picture or something pertaining to your business every day for the whole month of August. In the hashtags, use the hashtag IG August challenge. And that's it. And we probably have about 40 some people in the challenge now for the whole month of August. And like, it's second nature to them. I went on their sale last night. He was like, oh, we got about an hour to, do our post or whatever. But it's helped my business tremendously. And I think that, like, with the Whatnot thing, she said it. She was like, we see you on Instagram. We see you because I'm posting content. I don't care if anybody likes it. I don't care if I get 1 like or 20 likes, but it has helped somebody notice me. And when you don't think they're watching, they're watching. I'm a do that.
I know people who are like, this is your name in a live. I'm like, do I know him? They're like, people say, you have a brand. I'm like, I have a brand? What? It's like, I think that it took me a minute. For me, it took me a minute to just accept, like, Kat, just be who you are. Some people are going to be like, if she's consistently like that, she ain't like that. She's not all like hyper and like all excitable and like all of that stuff. That's not, they don't get me, but that's just who I am. And so now I'm just like, this is who I am. And so I'm just going to do my thing and and continue like my journey trying to like be my authentic self. And so I think that showing content to show your authentic self is great, versus like all content, all sales. It's really great even if you put with that content, you put like poetry or anything like, Emily's Joy, she does like poetry. She'll say good morning. She shows a piece that she's selling, but she puts a beautiful poem with it or something inspirational. And those kind of things that people, it resonates. It resonates.
It's not there to buy the clothing. They're
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we Dress Apart, and they're going to kill me because I joke with them all the time. All you're going to see is a glove. I have never seen their faces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's how they work together. It's their voices. It's their spirit. They're just amazing people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to see their faces. I'm a fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I bought into it. Like, I bought into it. It's just like, and when I first went out, I'm like, so are you going to ever show your face? And they're like, no. But I know that it is what it is. If I want to come, that's what I'm going to see. It's the glove, but it works for them.
Yeah. I followed you, y'all. I followed you, Just Park, because I hadn't heard of you before, but I'm on board. It sounds really cool, man.
10,000. They're trying to reach 10,000 items sold. I think it's by Labor Day. Sometime in September. But yeah.
I think that oh my gosh, everybody, that's the thing. You're finding what brings you, like, fulfills you and enables you to be your best authentic self. And if you can make money,
and that's where I am. That's where I am with it. I can honestly say, like, this brings me a lot of joy. A ton of joy. Like, when I can do what I absolutely love and people show up for me, and I can make money in the process, I'm good. I'm good, but it's
Yeah,
hard work.
well,
I love
my
it.
husband, he clowns me. He's just like, because he's like, when I get on live, I'm just like, because I'm already like, but then I get on lives and I'm just like, I'm all dancing and I'm singing. I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to be selling stuff, you know? And so it's just, I really enjoy it. So it's like, you know, I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked for you. I'm still like hearing about these other people that are having successes. I'm just so like, I think that that's so wonderful because we are a village. And like I say, it's a small, like it feels like it's a small pond. Like once you meet people in this realm, like this platform, you start to see them and you start to like, you really nurture and grow with everyone. So I think that that's a great thing to like not be bashful in that way. But yeah, and hard work girl. I know. Trust me. I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed because I'm just like, ooh. But it's all good. It's all good. Did anyone else have any questions? Anyone have any questions? And I'm gonna check out the show. Oh, and it's the Modern Housewifey New York. That's who it is.
Okay.
So that's so I don't have a interview for the first month, but first week, but I'm so excited. I love doing this. I love doing this. I love learning, and I'm just really, really, you know, once again, I've already said it. The fact that you immediately agree to come and have a conversation with me, I really, really appreciate it because I'm a small potato, and not everyone is willing to be gracious and just open up to me because you know they're not. You know, oftentimes I think it's like, what can she do for me? What's in it for me? But it's like, in the end, this is like everybody that watches, whether it's 6 people or 20 people, there's a benefit. There's a benefit, and I really think that having these conversations, like learning about our fellow members of our village and our community, I think it's just a heart happy, wonderful thing. You know, I think it is. I think it's great, and I just really, really, really appreciate you doing it. I thought I was gonna have to finagle you a little bit more, but you said yes right away, so I was like, yeah. I was so happy. So, yeah, and I know it's, you know, there's nothing but up, and I mean it like, because Josh's family is North Carolina, and so if we ever up there, I'm gonna look you up. If you're out about Vegas, you'll look me up. And you guys, please, 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 like, you can share this via Instagram after it's posted. Follow, subscribe on YouTube, and you wonderful lady. Thank you so, so, so much.
I'm gonna say,
And your blessing. Uh-huh.
I go. Always remember, y'all, and this is why we're doing this. We are better together.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Mm-hmm.
better together. Just
Mm-hmm.
remember
Yep.
the smallest little things, you know, just showing up for somebody, supporting. We are better together. Just remember that. And that's it.
That's it. Yeah, I interviewed Traci. I've written her for, she was one of my interviews. So you guys can watch that too on YouTube. I interviewed her, like some great people from my thrift shop, Britt. I did Elephant in My Room, Tish. I did, you know, so there's some great interviews on there. So you guys should really, really check it out. Okay, my loves, thank you so much.
Thank you.
As always, I throw a kiss. Mwah. Now I can do a full heart because it's no cast. Full heart, baby.
Yeah.
All right, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful night. And I'll be posting this. Oh, thank you for the follow. I'll be posting that as soon as we step off. Okay, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you guys soon. Okay, bye-bye.